advice.
As a convert and a da'i, as a revert, what is the most common prejudice people have against Islam, and how do you respond to it?
The problem is that depends on which society you're speaking of. So now after 9/11 in the West, the perception is that Islam is violent and it's barbaric and it has punishments which are barbaric and it restricts all kinds of things and it restricts women and it restricts being quote unquote free, whatever that means. Now, before 9/11, the perspective of Islam was that Islam was just a religion, and all religions are kind of based in the past and they don't talk about modern day problems. That's a very common misconception, and it's one that even is in the Muslim world today. After colonialism, the Western education systems or even influence, Muslims themselves have that misconception about Islam. They think Islam is something based in the past and it can't answer modern problems. Islam can answer problems, modern day problems, better than the solution that the West can bring. But we don't realize it. We think that it's just about praying 5 times a day. It's just about going to Jummah. It's just about tajweed, your pronunciation of the Quran. Islam is much more than that. It is a full way of life.
We see some people who, despite seeing clear evidences, don't become Muslim. What is the reason behind this, do you think?
Well, I'll say there's 2 categories of people who resist Islam. One of those is obviously, you might call them, they have emotional reasons. So they are already invested. It's called the sunken cost fallacy. There we go. It's where you've invested so much of your time, effort, your life, your hopes and your dreams into something false that you don't want to give up because you've already invested so much. You want to keep on investing. The second kind of people, and those are the people I'm interested in, they are those who, they have assumptions, and those assumptions blind them from actually seeing the truth of Islam. People might assume, they say, there's so many different religions, there's so many different ideas of God, so they must all be wrong, right? That's an assumption, and it's a quite common one amongst many atheists and so on. But I could simply point to them and say, okay, in the past, there were so many theories about what the sun was. Yeah, was it a flat disk? Is it an upturned bowl, where a bowl of fire, or is it a sphere? Oh, could someone say, well, there's so many different, theories about the sun that the sun doesn't exist? Say, no, one of them's right. The rest are wrong. Just because there's different ideas doesn't mean they're all wrong. Yeah, so that's an assumption. So in Islam, we don't say that every word for God, for one God, in every culture for our civilization is false. We simply say that not all ideas of the divine are true. If you believe in 3 in 1, or you believe that God has split into parts, or there's multiple gods, or that God has a family, that's false. But if you believe in one God, whatever you want to call him throughout history, you want to call him Eloh, which is or Allah, you want to call him Dios, or Tanri, right? This is all, it's the same word. You're describing the same thing in different languages. So that's an example of an assumption that people hold that gives us as a roadblock. And so when we encounter atheists, deists, or people of different religions, those who are sincere amongst them, the only thing that stops them from becoming Muslims is their assumptions. So inshallah, the work of the da'i is to destroy their assumptions. And then what does the shahada do? The shahada starts out with a negation first. It says, La ilaha, right? So there's all these idols, all these humans, statues, pieces of wood, all these things, whether it's volcanoes you worship, or the sun you worship, or the moon you worship, all these are false idols, right? All these gods are false except the one God which is beyond creation.
How did you find strength in those times? Where did you find strength when you were by yourself and no one around you was Muslim?
One of the biggest questions I find Muslims, people who are born into Muslim families in the Muslim world today, is they ask about being strong on your deen, or if you're not publicly manifesting your deen, or if you're not calling to it, it's because you maybe have a weakness, or you have a struggle in yourself, which is hard to reconcile. For me, I always found that strange. If you understand that your purpose of life is something, it's following this deen, there's a creator, he made you, there is no other meaning in life except obeying him, following him, what he says, how is his guidance, then it's pointless to do anything else. Because if I'm trying to follow my parents or follow society, but these things are going to pass away, they are not my God, they didn't create me, so there's no point. When I find Muslims are preoccupied with these things, it really baffles me because I came in with the assumption, and many reverts and converts do. It's not just me. Ask any convert and revert, they'll say they are shocked when they see the Muslim world because for them, they knew what life was like before guidance. That when they had guidance, guidance wasn't just simply, oh, here's what to do. This is the only meaning for human existence. Humans who have access to this, who now know it, follow anything else out. It would be pointless. Say someone went for a job interview, right, in a corporate law office or whatever. They came with a suit and they did very well in the interview. They got the job and they're going to earn lots of money and there's lots of respect. And they come in and then they start, let's say, playing football in the office and they don't do anything else. You're like, you're meant to be doing this job here. You're here to work and do this job. Why are you playing football in the office? That's the equivalent of Muslims who they have this purpose of life, but they are preoccupied with these childish things which don't have any meaning, like national honor or patriotism or nationalism or their family honor or just making money or following popular culture. These things have no meaning, though. Why are you following this? There's no point to this. When you die on following these false idols, your life would have been meaningless. So asking me about my strength, I don't think you needed much strength. It's just pointless to do anything else other than implement the Deen of Islam in everything. You follow?